Vito Capialbi was a nobleman lived during the 19th century here in Vibo Valentia. He was one of the richest and most important men of the town. He had an incredible social and political approach that brought him to be the landmark for the citizens. He was also a landowner. That's why his farmers, when someone has found an ancient relic, called him, and the item was promptly given to him. In fact, he started to preserve and to collect those items, building a huge historical collection. Then, moreover, he started to write notes about the circumstances of the discoveries, becoming the first archaeologist of Vibo Valentia. That's why the museum is now entitled to him. In his collection we can find objects from daily uses, objects coming from necropolis, both in bronze or in pottery, but the best item of his collection are the coins collected in the Vito Capialbi's monument that we can see inside. Vito Capialbi's monument is the biggest numismatic collection of the region Calabria. In 1974 it became state property and it had an amount of 3,865 coins plus 474 coins with medieval medals on top. We have now from the 2012 a part of this important collection here in the Archaeological Museum of Vibo Valentia. We can admire coins from Saudi, Byzantium, from Rome, but mostly of the coins are certainly from Calabria and from the colonies of Magna Graecia, making it important for our project. We can admire in particular one of the most beautiful one, the one with the tripod on top, which is related to the mythology of the foundation of the colony of Croton. We have in fact an important connection provided by this coin between Italy and Greece. In fact, according to the mythology, the founder of Croton went to Delphi, questioning the oracle of Delphi, and asked for the better place where to found a city. And the oracle responded with the area where is now situated Croton.
For the ancient peoples, the west side of the earth was dedicated to the dead. The sun sets in the west, and this is like a metaphor of life. The term necropolis derives from the two Greek words, nekros and polis, which means the city of the dead. The Greeks thought that after death, the soul still lives in the underground, the kingdom of Hades, but losing all the memories of the earthly life. On the west side of Hipponion, there was the Western Necropolis. Here it was found a tomb of a woman. She was wearing a little gold foil on her chest, dated to the 5th century BC. The typology of the tomb is Calle della Cappuccina, and the gold foil was folded back on itself, and it had an inscription with the necessary instruction for the deceased to guide the soul in the afterlife.
This saying is sacred to Mnemosyne, for the mistake he is about to die. You will go to the well built by Had's house. On the right there is a fountain. Near it there are white cypress. There defunct souls go to have relief. Do not go by this fountain. Ahead you will find the cold water flowing from Mnemosyne Lake. Before it there are guardians, and they will ask you, knowing well what you never searched for inside the darkness of the dark age, pronouns. I'm grievy and starry sky, son. I'm very thirsty and I'm fainting. Please give me the cold weather of Mnemosyne Lake. And they will be merciful, for the king of had wish, and they will give you something to drink from Mnemosyne Lake. Then when you have drunk, you will go through the sacred road, and which also the other glorious may stay, and Ibat shall go. For the Greeks, a body is beautiful when every part of it has a proportionate dimension to the whole figure. The athlete is the favorite subject of classical sculptors and becomes the model to represent also the divinity. In the athlete and in the god, the moral qualities such as self-control, courage, inner balance will combine to make it the measure, the canon of perfection. They are the superior beings with whom ordinary mortals must compete. In the Greek world, the deities have a human form. Their body, represented in the fullness of youth and vigor, communicates the idea of a perfect beauty, incorruptible in time and immortal. The human figure is the most represented subject in the Greek sculpture. In fact, the representation of human figures bears witness to the desire for perfection in body and spirit, a desire to achieve the ideal of erotic and victorious man. The first of these fundamental concepts is precisely the concept of beauty. The word canon, which we translate as beautiful, actually had a wider meaning than the present one. It included not only what we pleasing to eye and the ear, but also quality, character, and of the human mind. The ancient also keep the sphere of beauty and the sphere of art separate and give beauty an ontological foundation in order to search for its manifestation in nature and in particular in the body of the man, the noblest and the highest among human beings. Precisely because of this primacy, man is able to express his beauty as well as in the proportion of physical forms, even in the dignity of the practical. Hence the strong bond between good and good, which finds its expression in classical Greece supreme in the formative idea of kalokagatia, the condition proper to those who know they can demonstrate themselves at the same time beautiful and good.
In ancient poems, we can find a lot of description about banquets and about culinary tastes of the Greeks. The position of the polis promoted the growth of grapes and olives. Consequently, they had lots of wine and oil, and they were important producers of fruit and vegetables. As most of the Greeks lived near to the sea, they ate a lot of fish and shellfish. Meat was one of the most important food in antiquity, even if the amount of this eaten by a person in a year was very little. Furthermore, meat was eaten only during religious festivals, when the sacrificed animal was butchered and then given out to all the people who took part in the banquet. The Greek diet was very healthy. In fact, the majority of food consisted of cereals, barley, and legumes, and they were prepared in a very simple way. In addition, we know that the breeding of bees was practiced a lot because honey was the only sweetener used in antiquity. During the banquets, people who took part in this used to lie down on a bed known as clinai, and in the center of the room there was the crater like this one, where there were mixed water and wine.